conference will now be recorded.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, December 21st, 9 a.m. Public comments. Seeing none, hearing none, close public comments. Move on to administrative business.
Okay, just a moment. I want to make this sure everyone can hear. All right, can someone on the electronic meeting let me know if you can hear? Yes, okay. Thank you. All right. I did receive an emailed COVID update.
Okay.
And as of 7:30 this morning, we have 430 confirmed, 187 probable. Currently 71 active, 5 hospitalizations, and 5 vital statistic verified deaths. For the period of November 29th to December 12th, the 14-day rolling positivity rate is 20.63%, 73 positive tests out of 354. So that's the information that I was sent this morning. I do have, are we okay to go ahead? I do have the minutes of December 14th.
Everybody had a chance to review the minutes? Concerns or corrections? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Randy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I think it's 5-0.
Yeah. Oops, sorry, wrong. There we go, it's the one with the sticky glue on it. Okay, we do have some change orders.
I thought he was just making them over there, just, you know, he doesn't have a stack, I thought he was just picking them out.
Pretty soon I'll just steal from that pile there and just start circling back around.
Some on the backside of it.
Now, you get to sit and rest for a while.
I'm sore now.
Maybe I should give you a lot more things to sign and build up some more stamina.
Oh, yeah.
From one time underneath, that's where you've been.
We got some extras today.
Yeah.
It was wounded.
Don't use a Sharpie.
We have a salary change for Linda Rutherford for the ambulance department from $12.50 an hour to $15 per hour. Promotion to paramedic, certification completed.
What was her name again?
Linda Rutherford.
She was on duty there Friday night, and she just tickled to death about it, being promoted from an EMT to the paramedic.
Passed all her classes.
Hmm?
She passed all the classes.
Yeah, possible. She's been at it for 2 years, I think, to go from EMT to paramedic.
Okay, then the next thing that I have is the payables dated today. These are our early checks. One is for Park for the roofing repairs for that storm earlier this year, and then the other one is for COVID-related expenses that we will be submitting for reimbursement through Spark. So that total is $22,118.62 for the payables for today, and then we have a batch of reimbursements for Spark dated tomorrow.
I see on that list that there was a washer purchase. Where did it go to?
That's for the ambulance department, so they don't have to take their for the station, yeah, so they don't have to potentially contaminate a clothing home to wash
Okay.
after their shifts, so.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the early payables, $22,118.62. Second by Kent. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
Okay, and the next one is,
Sparks reimbursement.
yes, and that, these are all of the ones that have been through the accounting firm, have been approved, and the list was in your packet.
See that one, USD, so they figured out what to do with that.
Yeah, that USD 398 they had initially submitted short of what their allotment was, and so they were able to find additional invoices to cover their allotment.
Okay. That's good. Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the Spark reimbursement of $116,916.35.
I'll second.
Second by Dave. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Two sheets.
Not discussion, just a comment on Spark. We've got a situation we all know about going on up north within one of our cities in our county. And I just hope there's no more COVID money being dispersed. Maybe, who knows, I'm not gonna say it's dispersed illegally, but I hope it's not. I mean, it come out for a reason, and I hope that's where all this money that we see go through stays, you know, it's just designated for a purpose. Let's use it for that purpose.
I feel the committee did a good job, and they discussed about everything.
Yeah, well, and the committee's assigned it and all that out there. Now it's responsibility of the next step now
To the county people.
to use it correctly, yeah.
Well, and in order for them to be paid, they had to provide their documentation of how it was spent, what the bills were that they were being reambused for. So
That's train receipts.
they had to provide that before we paid them out.
Yeah.
So if they had some expenses came in that qualified, that's how they were paid. So. Pardon me?
The 2 pages.
You want it?
Sure, thanks.
Next month is gonna be light.
Yeah, the book won't be heavy.
No.
Okay. I have, and which was in your packet, the final pay estimate for the transfer station building project. And this morning I received the affidavit from the engineer, basically saying that all the work performed has been fully paid and we can make final payment. So basically saying they've done everything, they've paid any subcontractors, et cetera. So this is here if anybody wants to look at that. And then I do have that last payment. And I gave you some financial information to go along with that because as you may remember, we did not finance the whole amount of the project. And so a portion of that has to be paid out of the budget. And so we have about just around $77,000 left in the escrow account to pay toward this bill, and the rest has to come from county funds. So the transfer station budget will not have enough to cover the whole amount, so we will have to pay some from the general fund. So.
I did talk to Tina a little bit about thinking about our lease purchase, that to renew that, I think we would have to jump through quite a few hoops, and have legal publications and go back through a lot to do that. But it certainly is impacting the general fund and affecting the budget quite a bit. So, I mean, we've talked about, there's some ways to get things done, but it's gonna take some management of the budget going forward. I think we all knew that we were gonna have a shortfall there, but ends up being quite substantial.
The amount of the contract total was 1.951, is that what we're looking at? That's total.
Yes.
It's over
Well,
on the
no, it was
website.
1980. Let's see. When it was all said and done here, we go to here. Yeah, the project itself was 1,951,943.96. As of right now on engineering, we're at 73,846.70. And we had some other fees in there too, about just under 6,000 for finance fees and publications, etc. So.
On top of this 191, or is that under that 191, the money you're talking about?
That was additional money paid out.
Additional.
So because the 1,951,943 does not include the
Yeah.
engineering.
Okay. So,
That was just the project.
so your total is gonna be, those figures you put up, over 2.1?
2,031,625 and change right now. I think we'll probably get another engineering bill.
We financed what?
We financed 1 million, just a second, that's a small.
758.
Yeah, 1,758,000.
Is interest rate?
It was actually 1,755,000 or something like that.
I
and
don't
then-
know, what was our lease purchase on that was, what, 3%?
I don't have that in front of me, but
I don't-
actually the escrow was a little bit less, but we've received a little over 3,000 in interest,
I mean,
so.
I'm not doing that every day anymore, but I
Yeah.
doubt if it's gonna
Yeah,
be much
that
cheaper,
much, yeah.
but, and plus the cost, it's good, the big
Plus
thing
the
would
cost
be
to redo
the
it.
cost to redo it.
Yeah.
Right. Our actual escrow, the loan amount was 1,755,000. Okay,
That's right, the big payment rate.
right.
Almost 300,000 over, almost.
So,
And you, just for alerts now, what Ken's talking about is you figure the overage in our rock budget. That's a pretty good hit on our.
Yeah, we've had a big hit on our budget this year.
just for contracts going forward, it's between 15 and 16% for a contingency, which is still under what a normal contingency would be. Normally, you contingency about 20%, 20 to 30. So it's just something to keep in mind next time we do a lease purchase. Keep that contingency in mind.
Next time we do something.
Yeah,
Well-
it always seems to, you always pray for the best, but it always seems to come out that something goes wrong.
Well, I think that the board went into it also knowing they weren't financing the full price of the project.
Yeah, I think we had 100,000 built in for contingency, which wouldn't have covered, but we didn't lease purchase the 100,000. We just did the base amount.
And usually when we're doing a project like this, the engineering is figured into the cost.
Right.
And this one, it was not. So this was done a little bit different with the engineering. So most of the time you're looking at, when you're reviewing these things, you're looking at a full picture of what
Yeah.
you think the cost will be. And this one, this engineer didn't do it that way when it was presented. And And so it's been tracking two separate pieces, so.
That was,
That's probably the only way we can get a handle on this engineering, because, boy, I tell you what, that's open-ended. That, that project, well, I shouldn't have said, we knew we were gonna run into contamination, but we knew we were gonna run into contamination, in my estimation. And then you build all that engineering into everything that goes over too. Of which,
And contamination around 140,000 or something.
yeah, I don't know, the engineering side of things is not my specialty, so I mean,
Well, they're getting that 140,000, almost half of the.
yeah, oh yeah. It almost needs to be part of the contract. I mean, like you were saying, normally we'd see the whole picture, it'd be part of the contract, engineering fees would be in there. It wouldn't be just the slow bleed.
And I think something else we really need to look at is look at our income, whether you're gonna have these payments, your income, first operating expense every year for, what is the life of that?
Is it 3? 4?
No, I thought it was 15.
15 years.
15,
Yeah.
yeah, that's 15, okay, so look at your payment plus your operating expense, and that's what your budget has to be going in, you know, we need to,
Right.
I'd like to see more of exactly what we pull in for $100 a month business, or $100 residential, and then 130 or whatever for commercial, and see projected, because we're wiping off, there's a lot of properties being wiped off, houses going down, and so the income that we've seen, to me, is not gonna be, 5 years from now, is not gonna be what it is today, because I think there's gonna be more properties take off that
Tax roll.
yeah. So.
Plus you got a certain percent of the population of this county that's already paying for a trash service, plus a solid waste assessment.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Every
How's
city
that,
that has a
how's that gonna, going forward?
They're two separate things. You have every right to take your trash to the transfer station.
Sure, I mean,
and not pay the
I'm
trash
not
service.
saying that our solid waste, fee, assessment is the wrong thing to do.
I don't think you can do that in the city, so
I think I can opt out.
you think you can
Trash
opt out of the trash?
I think so. But I'd be stuck having to haul it myself.
Yes, yes,
And-
agreed.
And it's too cheap to turn down that service.
But it's hard to tell what these services are gonna do. You know, we've already got the instance again now in northwest Marion County where they're wanting to cut off some people again. You know, when you're dealing with a national service, all they do is look at the bottom line on all their different routes. If a route doesn't work, they're not gonna keep it up.
Yeah. Well, on the Nelson Falls part, I think the contractors have done what they said they were gonna do. Everything as far as plans, even made some adjustments through the plans to try to make it better. So I think I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the contractor payout final estimate at $271,453.55.
Second.
Second by Randy. All those in favor?
Aye.
It's 5-0.
And that's it.
You don't have anything with the engineer this time around?
We've paid the most recent bill for them,
Yeah.
and I don't have a final bill for them, so. All that back there was just kind of the figures of where we are with the project.
The most recent one was the 12/31.
most recent one was, we have one entered for payment right now, and that is the $5,464.80. And I think you probably had, I think you had that in your mail folder right last week.
Okay.
And that was not for services to the end of the project. I don't believe so. I think we'll have one more. So. Okay. We did have, as a result of the tiebreaker for Gale Township trustee, the person who was serving as Gale Township clerk was actually drawn, and they have declined to take the new position, and so that leaves a vacancy. And Daryl Ehrlich was in here last week, and the township officers would like to have Daryl Ehrlich appointed as the Gale Township trustee, and that takes a motion and a vote of the commission.
Okay. I'll make a motion to appoint Daryl Ehrlich as Gale Township trustee.
Second.
Second. By Kent. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
5-0.
And we'll be bringing some more of these to you in the near future.
As they pop up, huh?
Yeah.
Well, there's what, 10 of them?
Yeah, the majority of the people, you know, will have declined that were appointed through the tiebreakers, so. Okay. Travis was here earlier, but he had an emergency and he had to leave, so he is not gonna be able to come to the commission meeting today for EMS, but, and he doesn't have his numbers for you at the moment. The office personnel is out right now, and so he will have write-offs for you, but it won't be probably till right after the beginning of the year. But he did ask whether the board would approve. He wants to offer a scholarship, as the department has done for others in the past, for Jeremy Sears for his AEMT, and he said the cost is around $1,500. So, and if you have questions or want to talk about that further, then you will have to wait until Travis is available. But he just asked if I could present that on his behalf.
So what's it for?
It's basically for the county to pay for the AEMT training. AEMT, so it's an advanced EMT. It's
Okay.
under paramedic, but above the regular EMT.
He's already a paramedic.
No.
He's no,
EMT.
he's an EMT right now. And so this would be the amount of training that he would need to get to the advanced level, to be able to do, they do more,
Yeah.
they're allowed to do more services than just a basic EMT, so.
He's volunteer out of Peabody. My question would be, is just if he sees enough shifts, I'd like to know if he works enough shifts for us to go ahead for that. I mean, that's the only thing that unless we do this for, I don't know if everybody gets that paid.
We have in the past paid several trainings.
But is it just for the EMT, or this is?
I'm not sure if it was,
Yeah.
what type of training it was, but we have paid for some training.
Yes, yes, and and I didn't know whether just EMT or whether this AEMT, which was come out 4 or 5 years ago, which is a step above
Mhm.
EMT. And what I'm getting at is, do I have other volunteers that pay for it themselves that's on?
Well, and I know another question that arose earlier is will they commit to X number of years with Marion County? We don't want to train them and then they transfer to Harvey County or Butler County or Sedgwick County.
Well, and the EMS department does have that agreement that you all have approved before, to where if the county does that, they have to commit to it or they pay it back. So that I don't think will be an issue, but because they would have to sign that agreement, just like they do with the state board of EMS for the similar
As long as that
programs.
kind of stuff is covered and, because I do know he works, I've seen him work the ambulance. I just don't know how much. And so anyway, if Travis can verify that, make it right, I have no problem with it. We just make it equal for everybody.
When the classes start.
As I said, if you have questions, you'll have to ask Travis, because I really don't know the answers to any
And
of
then we
those.
put it off to next week. too.
Since we have that agreement in place, that they pay it back if they leave, I mean, I'm pretty comfortable with.
And they're also, part of that agreement is they are required to work a certain number of shifts.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
So if you feel like you want to approve it, you could approve it pursuant to him signing an agreement to work, the appropriate number of shifts as required and subject to payback if he leaves employment. So you could potentially do it that way, or you could just wait until Travis is back and check with him on it. So,
so what? I'd go ahead, I'll make that motion.
I think Diane was trying to say something.
So I wanted to know what kind of provision is made to assure that they pay it back. Excuse me, because when somebody quits and they say they're gonna pay, how are you gonna get that money? I mean, what is the provision to
Take them to court.
ensure that you get, we won't spend that money to sue or to take them to court. That's not a policy that the county does. That's why I'm asking the question, how do we ensure that? Because, you can say that and you can sign an agreement and you can book, and I'm just wondering if there's any other assurance.
There's a certain amount you could withhold from their check, but you can't withhold the full amount. And you would have to rely on filing a garnishment or going through the court system to recover that.
I don't think there's any guarantee
I don't
you'll
think
get it
there
all
is
back.
either.
You might get part of it back, and if they're honest, they'll pay it back.
Yeah.
You know, that's not the world we live
But,
in,
yeah,
I
but if they're
realize
honest,
that.
they would fulfill the obligation from the start.
Right.
Well, not necessarily, I mean, better opportunity comes along, and then they can still be honest, go take that job.
But
And
he's been in Peabody for a while then. so.
Yeah,
It's
yes,
a question.
has been, and that they do in the home there and stuff, but I just think it's, as long as Travis is up with it and on board with what you're talking about, Diane, that, they sign that and this and that, and everybody knows that if you don't make this, I think if you don't pass the class, you have to pay it back, or if you get 2 tries. I don't know what the policy is on that paper, if you don't pass the class.
Question
I don't
for
know
us.
that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't
But
know.
this person already passed it, right?
No.
Oh, they wanna take the
To
class,
take
that's
it,
yes,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, if they don't pass it, then they pay it back,
Yes,
right?
I think so. I think that's what it is.
And see, I'm not saying that this person is not an honest person.
No,
But,
no.
if you're doing this, and then the next person that comes in, maybe is not the same,
Right.
because there's all kinds out there. But
Yeah.
just food for thought.
Yeah, I'd like to keep promoting our volunteers and stuff in both, both ends of our county in any way we can, as long as they understand there's a cost, and if you don't pass, I think if you don't pass, you have to pay it back, please.
That's one way we can continue to promote the service, so we need to do that.
Mhm.
We have those safeguards.
That's a lot to take in there, so I will make a motion to approve the $1,500 scholarship for the AEMT class, contingent upon the
Standard contract.
signed contract, the ability to pass.
Pay back if they leave the service.
You just said something, and they didn't pick it up, it was the way it was said to us was scholarship. You don't pay scholarships back. I mean, I'm just saying, if this is scholarship, sounds like we're promoting, and maybe doing something different.
So what the motion that I have written down so far is to approve the $1,500 scholarship for AEMT class contingent upon a signed contract, ability to pass, and that's where you stopped.
We're just paying for the class.
We should get some more information
not a
from
grant,
Travis
it's
before we move on.
Verification of hours worked.
Yeah, I think we can wait to get that answer, ask that, Travis, and get our answer next Monday, we can do it then.
Yeah, I think I'd like to have a full understanding.
I think we all need it. I mean, we haven't dealt with very much lately, and we've dealt with a lot of, and we're all in favor of it, but just make sure what the P's and Q's are.
Okay,
I will table my motion until next week.
We appreciate that, thank you, sir.
how do you do that then? It's on, you just vote on it?
Can we send?
You have to restate it then, or?
I would just hold my motion until next week and then ask for a second.
You're rescinding your motion.
I was going to table it until.
Oh, table.
Did you complete it?
Didn't get a second yet.
I didn't get a second.
Can you table a motion
That's
through
what I was wondering, why
an
you just
adjournment?
rescind your motion?
Okay.
Okay, would you mind just making it again next time? I've never experienced someone not, I don't know if you take an action to adjourn, then whether that motion can still be there, I guess.
Okay.
It's just easy to
Yeah,
rescind it.
I'll rescind my motion then.
I'll second.
Or you could vote on it. I mean,
No, I don't want it to die, so.
No, we don't want it to die, we want it to,
So
Okay.
I will rescind my motion.
okay.
And I second that.
I don't think I need a second to rescind my motion.
Do we need to vote on to rescind it?
Because you never got a second
No.
to begin with.
All right, I'll withdraw my second.
well, interesting day.
You guys are testing me on a Monday.
Yeah.
What day is it?
You know what we need, just take care of it.
Oh dear, okay.
We've never had scholarships before, but I know.
Maybe they should be grants.
Well, a grant, you wouldn't pay back either. Grant would be.
If you don't follow through, I think you have to.
Well, I wrote down the word scholarship because that's the way Travis phrased it when he was
Yeah.
in here. He just said, hey, ask him this, and he ran out the
Yeah.
door. So,
Yeah.
it's basically,
Can we go
my
back?
understanding is, it's what we've done in the past for many other times.
Can we go back to what we did with the last one, how it was worded?
They get a lot of grants too for training,
Okay.
EMS does.
Right, you
They
can
get a
just,
lot of
I'll
grants.
put Travis on the agenda next week.
Very good.
Yeah, you can clarify it.
Yeah. All right, so moving on. Bryce.
You don't have anything
No, no.
We're not gonna list.
We'll just wait till next week on that one.
Oh. I'll cover for Travis, so. Don't want to have a lot this week. I have got some good information that we talked about. If we don't have to go through the qualification-based system on that local bridge improvement program, I think we can get that new bridge built for about $250,000, which is going to be half to 2/3 of what it would be for infrastructure. So that's a real good thing there too. So one thing I've been looking at, with the fuel prices being down, and obviously we're way under the budget on the fuel, want to know what the commission would think about upgrading our fuel system. We currently have 1980-ish technology. We have no way to, our current process of filling out fuel is by the individual sheets, and at current count we're like 120 different vehicles that would use that to try to document. So whenever we get done with that every month, Terry has to take every one of them, sort them out, who they go to, send them, put them together, send them to them or whatever else. One department actually wants them photocopied. If we were to go with new pumps, we could actually get a monitoring system that would either, both companies I've contacted thought maybe the key fob would be the easiest. Every vehicle would have its own little key fob. You'd pull up there, you'd go boop. It tells you the equipment number, the time, how much money in there. What we face is we at some months we've been off 400 gallons of combined between gas and diesel. We can't ever blame anybody because we don't know. It could be ours, it could be somebody else's. Are they writing down the right amounts? Sometimes things aren't signed, things like that. This system would basically just, boom, we print that out and it would be done. And we would lose the probability, whatever else, of having problems. Looking at the cost, I haven't got anything back for sure, but they're talking in the neighborhood of be $50,000. That would replace the pumps and the fuel system, and the reporting system would actually be done Wi-Fi. So we wouldn't even have to work on the wires going back over there. So anyway, just a thought. I mean, whether it happens this year, next year, just, you know, $50,000 I did. And like I said, that was just their rough guess, but you know, these pumps we have are still the old mechanical types. They're actually called dispensers, I believe, because the pumps are actually in the machines. Tom has said, yeah, he's worked on them. He's basically replaced everything on the inside of them, but I don't know how long those pumps are still going to be available. And then, of course, if Tom is the only one that's working on those, and Tom Lee or is not there. So anyway, just something to think about. Both companies I talked to, we're going to hopefully get something back this week, but if it's not, like I said, whether it happens this year, next year, but it sounds like the price of fuel is going to stay down for a while. So want to get more information and come back and kind of give you a little more idea. Any thoughts, yay or nay, or?
I think that'd be a good idea to work that into the budget numbers for next year.
Okay.
It would save 10 hours a month of labor.
Possibly, yeah, like I said, and talking about throwing people into tizzy, they lost one of the books. We found it, but it was quite interesting. I mean, there was a little frantic people for a while, but like I said, when you lose a whole book like that, well, with this system, we wouldn't have to be there. So, but anyway, like I said, want to get more information, I'll get back with you and see if we don't have to do it, but I just thought.
Would that allow us to put all the departments on it?
Yes. That 120 vehicles was, I've contacted all the department heads, got all their vehicles, so essentially, there are several different options. We could go with a key fob, you could go with a card system, or you could just go with a punch, where you punch in numbers, whatever else. So it sounds like the systems that they have available will work with all three of those. I just went out and said, okay, what would you tell me your best recommendation? Then we can look at that and see make changes either way, but.
Is our fuel consumption when we contract, is it enough to offset just buying it from a pump, like a convenience store, gas station?
The thing is that the documentation becomes a lot more issue because now we just have one location. If they go like somewhere else, whatever else, they'd have to get a receipt. That all gets turned in. And essentially, it's the same thing.
If you go with one vendor, and I know that's, you're always getting bids, but if you go with one vendor, you can get cards for each vehicle.
Yes.
Each vehicle is identified by that card.
Yes.
Essentially, it does all the same thing, and it comes out in a spreadsheet at the end, and it tells you how much this vehicle, this vehicle, this vehicle.
Right. The thing is that we're still working with is how do we can go out and contract fuel. The problem is we would have to contract transport, we'd have to contract area fuel, and whatever else. If we contract with one company, say for a year, they'll actually furnish us those barrels, the 1,000 gallons. But if we decide to go with somebody else next year, then they're going to say, hey, we're going to take our tanks out of here, we'll have to get tanks. We can go back in and buy them. Right now, from what I'm really checking into all this stuff, the contracting of the fuel, for the most part right now, if you contract for the next 6 months or a year, you're going to pay 25 cents a gallon more, just for that speculation. And that changes twice a day, mind you. So the problem is they have to put that out there so that if the price of fuel stays low, we actually get hurt because we're paying that 1/4 cents a gallon every time we buy it for a year. So that's the biggest problem. There's so much volatility in the market that, yeah, it's changing 8 to 10 cents. That's why the gas prices are changing like they do. So there are some downsides to doing that too. So what is the happy medium? I mean, I'm talking to these guys constantly, and
I guess I was going more at the $50,000 mark, to make it worthwhile. And then on top of that, do we have any tank inspections, and we have to do all that other
Yes,
stuff, and then
yes.
that's all an extra fee. And I'm wondering if it wouldn't be more beneficial to let a certain vendor be our contact, that we go stop at, fuel up at, they produce the report for the vehicle. We're not paying for inspections, we're not paying for pump.
The biggest problem we would face there is logistics of getting, especially our dump trucks. The only place in town to be able to get diesel fuel would be Ampride. So that we would go over there, they still would not give us well, maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't, give us a printout, unless we went over there, and I don't know whether their pumps are even set up that way either. And of course, the remote guys, you know, some of them have their own tanks. Like I said, it's a one half dozen the other all the way around.
I just know that CGS,
Yeah.
it is set up that way.
Yeah.
So Ampride is set up that
The
way.
co-op's billing is by date. So if 4 people get fuel, go all this, it doesn't sort out by vehicle. So
I got
you
it.
sort of have to go back manually and sort it out.
I think I get ours
Yeah.
by vehicle.
Ours is,
So, like I said, that in itself too is, we actually, we've been having to put a fuel tank in Ramona, and we've got one in Tampa, and Tampa's actually built a new facility up there, so we decided we're just gonna get fuel straight from them, get cards, same system, and it's always 24/7 access right there. That keeps us from having the liability of having fuel out there in those tanks too, so.
can this put more in one location? I mean,
No, this would be this
I mean,
50,000 would be one
yeah.
spot.
Yes, that would just be up here.
you can have a wireless location in Tampa and one.
Well, I
Hillsborough.
don't know. See, and that's the whole thing is on these remote tanks, if we wanted to go that way, we could get a 1,000-gallon tank or whatever else, and we can get a monitoring system that basically would let us know and them know when we're about empty, so it's automatically filled up. But again, the only way we would do that is if we had one vendor to do that. We'd have to monitor as well as them. So if we do decide to do that, and we don't want to contract out we don't want to contract out the fuel for 6 months or a year, then we basically have to buy our own tanks and go that way. Which I think they run about 5,000 a piece. Is that right? I think it was somewhere around there. But anyway, just to let you know, it's something to look at, something to think about. We can look at in the future and kind of come up with different ideas.
Bryce, you just said you're gonna go ahead and go with the new station there in Tampa, and I understand that. It looks like it'd be an easy deal. How many graders you got running out of there?
It'll mainly just be one right now. We're actually getting 2 cards just in case. With the retirement up there, the new guy taking over, it would just be one. Loyal pretty much gets his out of his own tank, and Jesse Smith comes down to Pilsen. But with the other card, anybody would be able to use it and still keep track of it.
So how's that gonna affect you're just gonna put less number out for contract then? Because you're gonna deduct his out of the rule.
Yeah. Well, that comes in on the area fuel bids. We determine how much.
So you're just gonna lower.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, I wish there was a solution that would satisfy everything. I mean, hate to have everybody come clear into Marion just to fuel up, because that's a tremendous cost also.
It just
Take
requires
3 gallons to get the town.
Yeah.
It requires some type of cost analysis.
Well, like I said, there's just so many, and that's what I'm kind of working on, is I get more and more of this information, so. But like I said, when we get those numbers back, maybe it'll be more, maybe less, we can go from there. So, anyway, I did get permission from KDOT. We are stockpiling the Waverly rock at the Lincolnville mixing strip, as well as the Durham mixing strip, getting some backhauls from guys coming back up there, so we're at least getting some rock stockpiled there. Been doing a bunch of legwork on the crushing stuff. Should be ready to get that going the next day or two, get that out of there. So KDOT's been gracious to let us use that stuff, because they're not using much. One place they didn't want us to use was Lehigh. simply because it's a pretty small strip and they use it quite a bit. So, but even then, it's nice, so. Right now, we're working on an Eagle rebuild from 160th to 170th. Got a bunch of trees removed. The landowners have graciously let us knock down the berms or their into the field, stuff like that, to try to make a lot better access. This is another road that got hit really, really hard during the flooding, obviously before that. So should finish up the rock on the Chisholm rebuild from 90th to 100th. Hopefully this week, if we can keep the trucks going, it doesn't get too cold. So, and the only other thing I had was obviously retirements this Wednesday at 8 a.m. If anyone wants to show up. So I believe that's it. Oh, yes. I don't know if you want to go through those. We've got the official 3 copies of the I can't remember which one that was for, Tina, but
Nighthawk and 190th.
yes, that's our HRRR program that we need to have the 3 copies ink signed and whatever else. So you have to ink sign them, and then you have to scan and email an original one of the copies. Then you have to send all 3 in, and they sign them, and they send you one back.
County shop Wednesday morning?
What's that?
County shop Wednesday?
Yes. Yep. And if anybody wants to come in, we're going to have masks available, or whatever else, and have some chairs set up in the shop or whatever else. So if people do want to talk, we'll try to maintain social distancing as much as possible. So.
Those are all the same.
Yeah.
It's
So,
just in triplicate.
do I put a carbon copy behind them or something? So.
This is
They
for,
have corporate paper anymore, do they?
Crazy. We're supposed
make
to
a motion to have the chairman sign for engineering design service consultant, project number 57C-5069-01. Second by Randy.
Is that the stream bank?
No, that is the Nighthawk and 190th interchange or intersection, where we're going to look at putting up flashing lights, whatever, rumble strips, stuff to that effect. That's covered under a high-risk rural road program.
Have a motion, second by Randy. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. 5-0.
So, but yeah, other than that, I don't have anything unless you guys do.
What, this rock that you're bringing in, is that on next year's budget?
There's 2
Yes.
pieces on each
Yeah.
one to sign, you see that?
And we're obviously, like we talked about before, we're going to definitely keep track and not.
And how'd you go about it? Did you put it out for?
We actually were contacted by a guy that was looking for work. Both of them have hauled rock before, and they were just looking on for stuff coming back. So, but,
If you're hauling rock right now,
yes,
so if you're committing to it now, it'll come out of this year's budget.
okay. Well,
Because, I mean, if it's a large amount, when we get that bill, we have to charge that back. Because it's when you commit to it in budget law.
so if we want to put on next year, we just need to stop and.
Yes,
Okay,
sorry.
sounds good. I'll give him a call.
Sorry. You can't do it until January.
Okay. Just wondering.
Take
I mean,
Christmas
is
off.
that gonna cost us in the long run?
I'll just call them and tell them, I don't think it's gonna be that big a deal. They haven't hauled a
I mean,
tremendous amount. So.
I'm not saying you can't do it, I'm just saying that we would have to charge that bill back
Okay.
to your
It
current
needs to
budget.
come out of next year's budget.
Yeah,
I mean, you're just talking about putting them off 2 weeks.
yeah, not a problem.
Okay.
Yep, so, okay, anything else? Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Bryce. All right. Okay, so Bryce is done. Any public comments? Anybody? There's a Capital. Maybe.
I don't think so. I just was having a conversation at the beginning of the meeting with an individual
Oh.
on here, because they couldn't hear, and that's before I had the audio turned on, so
Okay.
there was no,
Got a message, I don't know, Bryce is still on, maybe you can still hear it, but, Fleming's down, by Gossel has said, he's extending their thanks and appreciation for the work done on our road thus far. All employees, Jesse and Bryce, have been wonderful.
Good to hear.
Yeah, it'll get put in the minutes. And I'll stop by and tell them.
Which Fleming, was there, you just said Fleming's?
I'm assuming it's Cynthia, or Christine, not Cynthia. That'd be.
She's in.
Yeah, it's C. Fleming. So.
Okay.
That's the only thing I got lit up on, as far as the public comment.
Mr. Gantz on the schedule for next week.
he can be. We don't have a lot on the agenda, and so generally if you get done early in the morning, then it's not gonna be
Okay. What's the 1 PM on the 28th?
That's the pre-construction meeting for the String Bank Stabilization
Okay.
Project. That's Bryce and Nelson Fouts.
Yep.
Now I can, if you all need to talk to Brad today, I can see if he's available for a phone call, if you would like.
I don't know that I need him, but
Check and see if he can be here next week.
Maybe they'll record next week.
we'll conclude
Whatever
the,
he does in the morning.
Yeah.
since we're already in it, I'll conclude the public comments and go on to the commissioner comments.
I just trying to give the public some more time.
Oh,
And I would like to thank Tina and the courthouse group who put on a very successful Christmas scavenger meal. I heard nothing but good things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, great job.
I
Yeah.
appreciate all the effort that your committee or group, volunteers went to.
Thank you. It's my staff, and they did.
They worked very
They
smoothly.
did a great job. And thank you for being there and handing out everything, and I think it
He made
worked
us
out.
look very good.
Except for the hat, I had to wear,
Aw.
and Randy's glasses.
Yep.
Did you wear those sparkly glasses?
Yeah. It was interesting comments that come back off of that there was nothing negative off of the scavenger hunt to go around and look, and we got to hear all the comments out there at the end before you other two got out there, and it was just interesting to hear what they said, and they liked it, and, it was,
Everybody was excited when they stopped here to do it.
yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of nice to see everybody, and they were all happy and giddy about doing it, so.
You know how many people you fed yet?
160 some.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Good turnout.
Yeah.
If
Close to 170, I think.
if your committee gets to it next year and decides they want to do something else, I thought maybe we move our final destination over to where they end up at over in Hillsborough or something. Just a possibility. We see some new lights, new places that, I don't know how that'd work, but we're trying, see if it works. Start in one town, end up in another town.
I was just glad the weather cooperated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because that was
it all
risky.
depends on
That was a
too.
bit risky.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be that good every year.
No.
It just would have been bad on us. They were in heated vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it would have been icy.
It would have
or-
just been bad for us.
If it would have been icy or something like that, I think our turnout would have been a lot less. So, anyway.
And maybe that's when you plan that, maybe we do need to make preparations for that, what happens if it is ice?
Yeah.
Or something to that effect, so.
Yeah.
So, no, it's a good job.
commission comment?
Enjoy the nice weather this week.
No. I got it.
Merry Christmas.
I got
Christmas.
one. Merry Christmas.
I moved to adjourn. What else could be happening?
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
Quiet back here.
Sure.
Yeah.